Top of the morning, everybody. How we doing? Sean with the good dog out in New Orleans. Beautiful view, right? You just can't hate on that view. The mighty Mississippi. Doesn't look like there's any boats. Oh yeah, there's a boat out there. I don't know what it is. One of those working boats doing its thing. Early morning here in NOLA. A couple more days. I want to check in with you guys and talk to you a little bit about a training concept that can really help you guys move forward with your dog, proof your dog, get your dog into a better space, and really challenge behaviors and challenge also state of mind and attitude, make sure your dog's paying attention, all that. And basically, the concept is creating an invitation, right? That's the kind of the term I use when I'm talking with clients. Create an invitation. And what that means is, whether you're like dealing with, say, threshold exercise, crate exercise, place command, you've got a dog in sit, down, anything like that where there's a boundary that you want your dog to adhere to, even if it's a threshold, right? Like, and you're about to, like, even if you're going through 8 different doors, but like you stop and you want your dog to stop at the door, right? They're all different little boundaries that we're looking for our dogs to pay attention to and respond to. And what I see owners do when they're working with their dogs is try and prevent the mistake, right? They'll block the dog. They'll use spatial pressure. They'll hold the leash back. So let's use place command, because that's pretty simple. A lot of people are familiar with that. So you're training your dog place command. Dog's got it pretty down. You recall your dog onto place, right? Say you recall him around. You're doing good. You're rocking and rolling, and he's comes jamming onto place. And when he gets to place, he steps right to the edge, and you can tell he's not locked in. You can tell he's on the precipice. You can tell he's like contemplating. Do I step off? Do I keep moving? What happens usually, most owners at that point step into the dog like this, right? They step towards the dog to use spatial pressure to block the dog. If they've got a leash on the dog and they're not doing e-collar work, then they very likely will grab the leash. They'll say no, and they'll move towards the dog. They may grab the leash, they may correct. Instead, what I always recommend clients do, as of course the dog has to know the command. You can't be like in the very beginning stages of the command. This is more towards as you're proofing and demanding more of the dog. But the dog goes to place. You see he's on the precipice. He has that look in his eye, contemplating some nefarious activity. And instead of moving in, instead of saying no, instead of grabbing the leash and pulling him back, I want you guys to actually step away and create an invitation, right? So if here's the place command, your dog's here, instead of stepping forward towards him, instead of saying no, instead of grabbing the leash and correcting, instead of trying to intervene and prevent the mistake, I want you to create the invitation. I want you to step back. There you go, right? Allow your dog the opportunity to make that decision, but don't allow him to make that opportunity just like if he's stuck, if he's kind of like, or she is like right on the edge. Give him the opportunity to make a real bona fide decision, a real choice. Instead of like standing right there, what are you gonna do? What would you like to do? Let the dog make the decision, let the dog make the move, create the invitation, and then the dog has to make a real decision. Now the dog has got no spatial pressure, you're not in the same position. Now the dog has to really go, oh man, I know this command, what should I do with it? Should I stay here? Should I step off? And if the dog steps off, then you get the opportunity to correct and share with the dog the boundary and reinforce the boundary and get the dog to go back. And then the dog learns, I have to remain in this position or stay on place or in this command, even when things are wide open, right? Even when there's a gigantic engraved invitation, I still have to hold myself there. And that is what helps get you to a much further place with your dog in all, and I'll run through some different commands, but like in a bigger context, if you guys can see it, that's what helps you get to that like kind of promised land of a more secure dog, a dog that, and I mean more secure in his commands, a dog that will hold things even without having any spatial pressure or any element of you needing to be close by or anything like that. It's a huge difference, and also another component of this is you doing the work versus your dog doing the work, right? So you can micromanage your dog through all the different behaviors and fool yourself into thinking that your dog is actually like obeying thresholds or plays or sit or down or whatever, but in reality you're managing him. You're spatial pressuring him until he locks in, you're leash guiding him or correcting, you're e-collar correcting, you're verbal, you know, something like that. So there's a big difference between your dog doing his very best work in a situation where he's got opportunities and choices to make different choices, and you doing the work for him, which is basically removing those choices and options. Doesn't have to do the brain work, doesn't have to become patterned to doing his best work in the absence of management and control from you constantly, right? So I hope that makes sense. It's a super important concept, and it's a subtle thing, but it will make a huge difference in how proofed your dog gets with commands, how far down the road your dog gets with all this stuff, and how dependable he'll get. And also, attitude-wise, it'll start to hold your dog much more highly accountable for his own decisions, which has a huge impact attitude, state of mind, demeanor-wise. So we're not just proofing commands. We're not just like, oh, we've got the best place command in town or thresholds or whatever. We've also got a dog that's doing his very best work because he knows he has to. And that is a dog, sorry, train stuff. That is a dog that is going to be on his toes, on his best behavior. That's going to be a dog who's giving you his best stuff, and a dog who's giving his best stuff tends to have a much better attitude than a dog who's being managed, a dog who's being supervised constantly, right? So we want to get to a point where the dog is actually doing his best work, so you get the best stuff overall, both obedience-wise and command-wise, but also personality, demeanor, attitude-wise, to where your dog's like, hey man, you've set me up and you've shown me that like I have to do my best work even without you like holding the leash or micromanaging or any of that stuff. I got to do my best work, and there's a huge difference there behaviorally for your dog and relationship wise. I can't stress it enough. It's such a big difference. So, and just real quick, let me run through a few things. So say you're at thresholds, right? You walk up to the door, open the door. Now, a lot of people like stand there and they like, you know, they got leash in their hand and they like put like subtle tension back on the leash, and or they'll creep up to the threshold real slow so as to not make it hard for the dog. No, go the opposite. Walk right up to the door briskly, boom, stop briskly, arm relaxed. I don't want to show you my PJs. Well, I guess I have to. I'm up on the roof in my PJs. Arm relaxed, no tension on the leash. Give your dog full opportunity to step past you with the threshold, step past you through the threshold, go out the door, and then correct if he makes the mistake. But don't give him the super slow down cue. Don't give him the little subtle leash pressure that you're not even aware that you're giving just because you don't trust that he's gonna stop. So walk right up, give him the total invitation. Boom, threshold, loose leash. What you gonna do with it? Oh, need a correction? Cool, let me help you out with that. Next time we'll do better, right? Or if you're doing crate. Crate's another huge exercise that I see this happen a lot. And with crate, I see a lot of people, they'll open the crate door and they have a dog who likes to charge out of the crate. They'll open the crate door and they'll slowly open it, and the dog tries to come out and they'll slowly close it, and they'll do this dance, and then they'll finally like open it slowly, and then they'll just step back just a teeny bit, and then they'll give the dog the release, whatever it is, right? So basically, you've like slowed the dog down, slowed the dog down, slowed the dog down, and then you're most likely using spatial pressure that you're not even aware of, but it has significance for your dog. Your dog's like, you're really close to the crate. I know I'm not gonna be able to jam past you and get by you, so why even give it a shot? Why even give it a go if I know you're gonna catch me? So instead, open the crate door, open it whoop, wide open, and unless you're at the very beginning of the crate exercise, your dog should be further along. Open the crate door, give the dog the opportunity to make the move. He tries to jam out of there, shut the crate door firmly on him, make sure he knows that that's a correction, that like, hey, like don't give him the slow, creaky door. open that door, let him make the decision, bang, if he tries to come out of it. Now, once you're past that and your dog is waiting patiently in the crate with the crate door wide open, then take 2-3 steps back. Big difference. Big difference between your crate being here and you being a foot in front of it and thinking, yeah, my dog's doing great, he's waiting right at the crate, and creating an invitation, 3 steps back. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna come out of the crate, or are you gonna wait for permission? You have to create the invitation to find out what your dog's really got cooking. Otherwise, you're once again fooled into thinking like, my dog is actually giving me great stuff, but he's not really giving you great stuff. He's giving you managed stuff because you are slowly like opening the crate door and you're standing close enough to make it to where he knows he can't really jam past you. So you're not really getting his best stuff, you're not getting his best attitude, you're not getting his best behavior. You are doing most of the work and you're probably not even aware that you're doing it. Same thing goes for sit, same thing goes for down, right? If you sit a dog and you're like, cool, he can sit. Well, can he sit with you like walking circles around him? Especially if he's a nervous dog. Can he sit if you've got somebody else walking circles around him and he's a nervous dog? Can he sit with you like you guys are the dog, right? Can he sit and have you look him in the eyes and walk backwards? And like maybe even like bend down a little bit like you're giving a recall? Can he sit and hold that? Not for 10 minutes, but can he hold that? Because I don't go for big, long, like huge duration sits. But can he hold that sit with you making eye contact and then backing up like that? That's huge, because you're creating an invitation. You're saying, this looks an awful lot like I'm cueing you, but I'm not. I'm not saying anything, but I'm looking at you and I'm moving backwards. Hopefully I don't fall off this roof. So it looks like part of a cue, so it's demanding your dog does his best work, right? Because it's not the cue, but your dog's like, that looks suspiciously similar. And if the dog's not doing its best work, boom, just comes running towards you, breaks the sit. So once again, create the invitation. Your dog in the sit, don't be fooled into thinking that you got a great sit just because you're holding the leash and you're standing right next to him. Make the leash relaxed. Let your dog know he's got ample opportunity to make mistakes. Make sure you have a long line on him if you're doing work outside, whatever it is, be safe. But then create the invitation. Walk those circles, loose leash. Do, 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 do. Or step back. Or maybe your dog has a harder time with you stepping way behind him, right? Creating an invitation for a mistake, for a decision to be made when your dog is in that sit, and then you really start to know like what your dog can do, and if he's doing his best work, and if that sit is really rock solid, and is he also processing between like what looks like a quasi cue, like I'm looking at you, and what is an actual cue with a voice command, you know, and all that stuff. Same thing goes for down, obviously. Everything I just said about sit, whatever your dog, you know, just transfer it to everywhere and start thinking about creating invitations to really find out what your dog, how good your dog is at it, at the command, if he's giving you his best stuff, or if you're just managing your dog. Huge, huge difference, guys. Big, I mean, I can't tell you like state of mind wise and behaviorally, those moments of creating invitations to find out what your dog's doing and then correcting significantly or firmly enough to make sure that in the future those choices get better and better and better. That's how you make huge, huge improvements on your dog's obedience commands, but also the dog's state of mind. So try and get really crystal clear with yourselves, whether you're managing or whether you're creating invitations to really find out what your dog's capable of, what he really knows. Isn't that beautiful? Boat floating by. What he really knows, and if he's doing his best work. And that's up to you to create invitations. It's the only way for you to find out. The only way you'll ever find out is by creating that gap, that opening for your dog to really make that decision. If you don't, you'll be under false assumptions of how good your dog is at doing something, and you won't get his best work or his best state of mind. So that's it. I hope that makes sense. Any questions about this, about creating the invitation, hit me up in the comments and I'll do my best to answer for you. I've only got a couple more days here. Really sad. So pretty out, guys, so pretty. Only a couple more days. Clients going home, board and train's going home. Everybody's looking great. So it's been a really jam-packed, successful couple weeks here. Lots of great action, and I'll be back in LA soon, checking in with you guys from Chatsworth, and we'll keep things rolling. Hope you guys have an awesome day, and talk to you soon. See you. Bye.